and we want the fans out of their seat. We want to score goals. We want to give them momentum on our side, and then on the flip side is when we don't have the ball is we got to be dogs.
Hey, and there we are. We are live. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the Afterburn Soccer Show. Joined here with our good buddy Chico Carmona. I'm
Hey, what's
Nathan.
up?
Thanks for following us. Thanks for sticking with us through what's been a brutal month of May for FC Dallas. Much better for North Texas. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But starting with FC Dallas, who just it's been a hard month. It's been a really hard month for this team, and we're going to kind of take stock. They get a week off to rest and recoup a little bit, and so we're going to break it down. Of course, looking back at the home draw against Philadelphia Union, a disappointing night, even if there was a lot of effort put out there on the field. And before that, you can look at a draw away against FC Cincinnati, one of the better teams in the East. PKA shootout loss to the Red Bulls before that, which was a heartbreaker. And then, of course, a Seattle loss away, a late one, 1-0. And so certainly some effort throughout those matches, but some spectacular moments, including Anderson Julio, as you saw that goal with a beauty of an assist from Pedrinho to grab a point there, steal a point in Cincinnati. But when you also look at the schedule, and here it is, the whole month of May, man, tough. The only win is the Open Cup against a lower tier team. Otherwise, it's just losses and draws. A tough month for FC Dallas. So let's start off just by looking at and talking about FC Dallas's draw against Philly on Saturday night. Lalas Abubakar, of course, made a really dumb choice. A late challenge when he was already on a yellow card, and that was it. Early showers for him and putting his team in a really tough hole when they were trying to get 3 points at home to kind of turn the page on that brutal month. And in the end, hang on, giving up like 23 shots, though most not on goal, to a Philadelphia side that is great. That's a great side this year. And so there's certainly some positives to take from that. And we'll hear from Quill in a minute, but also some more disappointment that FC Dallas once again can't get it done at home. So give us your thoughts, Jose. Just looking back on Saturday and maybe then a little bit over these past couple of weeks for FC Dallas.
Well, I mean, it's one of those games where you're both upset of the result, but in all honesty, my personal thing is I'm both upset and happy with the result. Of course, you want 3 points at home, regardless of who it is, and you have to settle for a draw. Now, with 10 man, that's a good result, but let's face it, we all would have preferred 3 points any way possible. Uh, so, not happy about that. Now, the thing that I am happy with is um, people finally seeing exactly what everybody should have already known, that Abubakar is not a guy you want starting on your team because that's always been his MO. He's always been a person who makes a fatal mistake at some point in the game. And in this case, it was a red. Maybe next time it'll be an own goal. Who knows? The longer he's on the field, he just has always made a boneheaded play at some point. He'll look great for large stretches of the match, where you say, yeah, he should be starting Urbiaga, and this match shows you why that's not the case. Why he shouldn't be starting ahead of Ibiaga. So, so the other thing is, I'm also hopeful that this also sends a message to management that hey, if Abubakar, um, no, I'm sorry, but if Urhoghide is not available for this next match, you're gonna have to start either Farfan or your four string cornerback. And I'll be honest here, either is unacceptable. Can Farfan do it? Yes, sure, he can do it. But if I'm a team, any team, I'm gonna do what you saw when he got matched up with Kai Kamara, who basically headed a ball over him on a set piece without even having to jump.
Mm.
You get a ton of that, and I mean a team that's already pretty weak on set pieces is going to be even weaker. So hopefully this lights a fire under management to say, hey, we really do need to get another center back in the lineup. But the other thing that I'm happy about is look, this team looked listless before the red, and oddly enough, it came to life after the red. You know, odd how that went, and people will say, oh, they didn't show any fight. Look, they showed a ton of fight, getting a result against Philadelphia. I don't care where you're playing, with that, where you're playing at, with 10 men. Any result against that team is a really good result, and it's just sad that the team had to lose a player before they would start showing
Yep.
that fighting spirit.
Yeah, I mean they did have an early opportunity that really Anderson Julio should have buried. So there were certainly some moments there, but
I leaped out of my chair like so like yeah, and I'm like oh
yeah.
I mean I was so sure that was in. Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I think that is the quandary we're in for this team is just, Quill. We knew there's going to be some adjustments. We've said that before on the show. He's a first year head coach in this league, and he certainly seems to be getting some buy-in from the guys. Oh, here's Colin.
What's up, Coop?
What's up, Coov?
What up? What up?
Yeah, so we're just chatting about Saturday, about the red card, about where this team is, and yeah, I mean you look at the standings though. I pulled those up too. As we take stock with this week, no match this week for FC Dallas, 18 points, and you look and all of a sudden, Kansas City is creeping up. Kansas City started the season as terribly as you can. And FC Dallas just getting a few points here and there, but just not at the pace this team needs to be. And yet, yeah, first year coach, a team with injury problems, team that's had a tough schedule at points. This month, especially, a lot of travel, which takes it out of any team. But a team too that we see the fight. We see against Cincinnati that they can make spectacular stuff happen. They can score some great goals, and we can see that there can be some performance even at home. This home draw of the team pulling itself together, pushing back, holding on, and grinding out a clean sheet, which haven't been many of those this season. So we see the promise, we see the possibility, we see the buy-in, and yet, as of so far, it hasn't been consistent, and the home form has just really held the team back. So we keep just having to wait, having to be a little bit more patient to see if FC Dallas is going to put it together. Kuv, were you at the game on Saturday?
Yes, sir, I was.
Oh, and so I'm sure you had some words for Abubakar after his second yellow.
Man, I'll be honest. Me and Luke and then Austin were all sitting there with each other, and we were all very much trying to see, like, it looked like he was going to get there. And then in the middle of his stride, he took a hesitant step, as if he was like, maybe I shouldn't, and then realized he's beat because he hesitated and then lunged for that tackle. In real time, it didn't look as bad, but I pulled up the replay, and it was pretty bad for a yellow. And no matter what, it's a foul. The first foul for a yellow is very soft compared to what the referee called before that match and before the game and after during the game. But knowing you're on a yellow, you can't make that tackle. You can't make that challenge. So
You can't even attempt that challenge.
oh no, you can't. So it's one of those things where, Abubakar has looked way better than Nibiaga this season, in my opinion, and that was, the game at home to, solidify yourself, see maybe if you deserve that spot next to Nibiaga, and you do that. It now makes it to where we're now probably going to rock up with either Augusto at center back or Farfan at center back with Norris at left back and everything else. And it's just the Abubakar challenge, man. It's just, it wasn't a great challenge. It wasn't a great situation for us. And it kind of, there wasn't much going on in the attack anyway, but it pretty much solidified that we weren't going to attack much of the rest of that game.
Yeah, a lot of question marks. I mean, I appreciate Quill applauding his guys' effort. I mean, again, a draw when you're down 10 men is a solid soccer result, and especially not giving up a goal and having to try to push yourself forward. So it showed a lot of fight in the team, a lot of effort, a lot of guys putting their bodies on the line. So yeah, I credit Quill for getting that fight out of the guys, but yet also he's encouraging folks just to be patient. So I want you to hear his response. I asked him. I said, "Hey, Coach, what would you say to fans who are coming out for these home matches, and and yet." See this home form that's not where it needs to be. What's your message to them? And this is what he said.
Yes, we're gonna get there. Stick with us. I mean, we got a red card tonight. So it wasn't a fun night to watch low block defending, but if you're a soccer enthusiast and you really know the game, you have a real appreciation for what just went on tonight and the desire that these guys played with and the heart and hustle. And I mean, that's for them. They're playing for them, and it's not pretty. It wasn't going to be pretty, but it was. These games are built on when you go down a man, especially early. They're just built on mentality and organization, communication, being a team, being tight in your lines, and committing to that. And they're not going to get the touches in the moments that they want, but I think we did our fans proud tonight, and I think we're going to get there. We're becoming a better and better side. I truly believe that, and we'll get there. So stick with us because we're not going to be in 11th long.
Thank you, Eric, and with that, that'll conclude.
Stick with us. I mean, a little. I mean, his little thread there about, this is the beautiful game, and sometimes this is, if you're a real soccer nerd, you'd appreciate, which, yes, I'm a real soccer nerd, and I do appreciate the difficulty of holding on to a draw when you're down to 10 men. I get it, and yet, I'm sort of like, what about the wins, Coach? What about the home, performances overall? It's not just that night. It wasn't just against Philly, but it's been this whole season of just not good enough at home. And but I guess maybe patience is the key. So I guess, Colin, just for you, thinking about, I threw up where we are in the standings right now. What's the hope you see? I don't know. Osaze might be better. I don't know how long he'll be out. Hopefully he'll be back in another week or so, but, But yeah, Todd Chatterley just said, "Hey, we should see what George John is up to." Um, Zach Lloyd just got hired by the team, I think, is in the academy. So maybe is he fit? I don't know. But yeah, what hope do you see, Kuv, going forward? Is the team giving you enough to stick with them for a bit?
I mean, I want to say yes, and then I want to say no, and it switches from game to game. It seems like because we had a really good stretch of road form, and then we go and get thrashed 5-0 in San Diego, and then we, look great against Seattle, and get a 1-0 late loss in Pens. We go on the road again to Cincinnati, and we're down 2-0. Literally at halftime, down 2-0. I walked outside, started playing soccer at my buddy's house, just kicking around with his younger nieces and nephews, and didn't even care about the game. And his mom, who doesn't know much about soccer, this shows how annoyed I was, came screaming outside the house, "Oh my God, y'all scored! Y'all scored!" And I'm like, all right, cool. That's cool. I just peeked through the window, watched Moose's goal, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then Ben reacted to a goal and get us 2-2. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll go in and watch. And by the time I got in and watched, we were down 3-2. And we somehow pulled a 3-3 result against Cincinnati in Cincinnati. And then, I didn't expect to win this past Saturday, but I didn't expect the red card in the 30-something minute, like the 38th minute, and us holding on to a 0-0 draw at home against the best team in the East. So this team, I think if we're going to be real, and it's going to be a tough ride. I mean, we can't sit here and say, like, injuries have cost us some in the earlier season, and now it seems to be, Osaze, the one highlight of our defense, is now hurt. But the defense showed out and played well against Philly. I mean, their big thing is crosses. And did we stop the crosses? No, but we dealt with them decently in the box. Very few times. We got beaten when we did. It was against Ibriaga, who is a 50-50 in the air winner. Literally on his statistics for most of his career. So it's one of those things where the defense did what they could, and it was honestly the defense's best game, I think, all season against Philly, which is when you needed it. Philly was heavily rotated, though, so I don't really want to give too much credit where it's not really due, but you're also down a man. So this team is very much flip of a coin. Which FC Dallas are we going to get today?
Mm-hmm.
At home, I don't expect much. On the road, I expect points, whether it's a draw or a win. And I think just the road form, if they can pick up some of the home form and keep this road form that they've done most of the season and keep it up for the rest of the season, we can sneak into playoffs, but it won't be much higher than 7th or 8th.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I think we're right around where I legitimately expected us to finish. My playful little predictions had us in like 4th, just messing around, but my actual predictions had us like 9th or 8th. And I think that 8 to 11 spot is based on the rest of the league and everything until summer hits with transfers. And from what I'm hearing, don't expect much. But that could change, and maybe something happens in the summer. We can get some form going at home, and we can sneak into playoffs. But to be honest, with where we're at right now is where I expected to be. So most of our hard away games are over. We have no more games against Eastern Conference opponents, I believe, for the rest of the season. So now it's just focusing on Western Conference, and a lot of the teams we have left are, especially for our double games, are, the lower half. So we got to capitalize these next couple of games. I believe from August to September will be crucial. And with the heat and everything, take advantage of it. Get used to it. Get out there, get training. We got to take advantage of the summer and take advantage of our home games.
Jose, any hope for you?
Oh yeah, I'm one of those optimistic types, and I'm already hearing people whispering Quill out, and come on now, you do need to give him patience. This team sold out on the U.S. Open Cup. They went for it, and were really a bad call away. In the final minutes from advancing. And when that didn't happen, they had to play a rotated squad against Seattle, something we're not talking about. We played a rotated squad against Seattle, and the loss came only when your best player had a fluke, uh, PK come out of there. That's really the only reason you lost to Seattle with a rotated squad. And then you have the red card against Philadelphia. I mean, I'm not as gloom as doom as everybody else. The breaks just haven't gone uh, Quill's way, and I think you got to look at the team's road form for the season, which is the best I remember this team ever looking on the road, other than Pareja, and I think that gives you hope about what this team can do, um, and hope that they'll turn it around. And frankly, I don't really not really concerned how high this team goes up. I think we can sneak into the playoffs. That's not what I'm looking for. This is year one of a build, and really, this team's building for for the future. And Quill, I think, is showing that he's showing those rookie mistakes, and he needs to get them out of his system this season. I think this team will limp into the playoffs. Uh, if they continue to play the way as well as they do in on the road in the playoffs, they could knock off a team or two, get our hopes up, and then break our hearts like they usually do. But I think this team is good enough to let's face it, this team's only like a win or two away from being like sixth or seventh.
Right. Well,
You know,
that's the other side of this.
And also, I want to point out schedule. Three of the next four matches are at home, with the lone road match against Sporting Kansas City, who's below us in the standings. That's a very favorable schedule, and 6 of the next 9 matches are at home. So this is a stretch run where it gives Quill a chance to turn the tide and change the direction of the squad. I mean, it's the summer; it's going to be hot, and as long as this team doesn't suffer a summer swoon, that's asking a lot. But I'm just saying, like I said, 6 of your next 9 games at home. That's you got to make something happen, and Quill has an opportunity to change the direction of this season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I appreciate the optimism and the hope, and I do think, there are reasons, even in these results this month, that were hard fought, that show that Quill has said multiple times the margins of winning in this league are razor thin, which is true. Which it's one call, and you're going to get bad calls here and there. You're going to have refs that maybe aren't as consistent as you would like, and things. You're going to get a red card. You got to roll with those things in this league. But I guess what we're all still looking for and hoping for is that sort of consistency, and not waiting until we're down 2 goals to find the energy to mount that comeback, but to start off in the right way in these games, and to control the games a little bit more, and to figure out how to use Lucho to the best, and how Pedrinho, who really, I didn't want to go deep in the statistics, but minutes wise, like Pedrinho has just had such an impact in just limited minutes compared to Lucho's. But I'm sure there's other aspects to those stats to look at too, and we this is a team that still has some room to gel, to grow and figure some things out. So I think that is the hope that we have, and at the very least, also maybe, but even if, Jose, you're saying, this team is building for next year, I want to see more minutes for these young guys. Then,
well, I mean, you want to see improvement, and I want to state also that even when this team has won, they've only really looked like a competent, cohesive team for spurts. We're talking like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and sometimes that's all they need to escape with a win or a draw. But let's not forget, against Cincinnati, that second half, that's probably the best half of soccer this team has had all season, and that's right up there with the Colorado result, mind you. So this team is showing it just can't seem to put it together for an entire match. We've yet to see that. And let's face it, with the shuffling of the lineups, shuffling of the formations, people coming back from injuries, people missing on injuries, it, this team has room to improve. And the roster, I think, right now, it has enough. Like I said, it doesn't take much. They just has to gel. I think we're starting to see this team. Hopefully, the Philadelphia match is you saw players that we're not used to seeing. Bust their tails. Costa. Um, it's a good sign. You know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's a good sign that you saw some players out there hustle that and say, hey, all right, now let's do that for a full 90 minutes and at home, and if we can package that and work on it, improving it. I think this team here still has room to grow, and like I said, the upcoming schedule will give us an opportunity to see if this team can in fact turn it around and at least become a player in the playoff race.
Well, other news this week, of course, Osaze's injury is a real disappointment, and but maybe comes at a time when he has some time to mend a bit. Paxton too was out this last weekend with a knock, and hopefully it's just a temporary thing. Other sad news was Herbert Endelay, who was on loan to Colorado Springs. His loan was recalled not because we need the depth, but because he has a torn ACL. So really unfortunate for him and his development path, and looks like he'll be out the rest of the year, and it maybe be that beginning of the end of his time with the team. So, but I'm also looking at some of that move too of like, hey, that maybe that they can put him on injured reserve, and that does open up a spot for them to play with on the roster. So some things like that may also factor in with some of those decisions. And yeah, I'll be curious to see who starts if Osaze's not ready to go. Yeah, Farfan wasn't too bad. I mean, we've seen him play there before as a center back. He, in fact, I always wonder like if you just. I love his presence back with the team. I'd love to see Nolan continue to get minutes because I just think, but Nolan's of course getting called up to the U20s again shortly here. So, I just want to see Nolan continue his development. But hey, maybe Osaze and Farfan could be a pairing that Quill could build around if he wants some guys who are going to be more mobile and able to do some things at the back. We'll see. Farfan definitely brings that fight to the midfield. And hey, shout out to Ramiro for playing right back pretty well once again in this one, which
Second time that he's shown well at that position,
yeah.
and maybe backup running back might be his best move.
You see, okay. All right. Well, real quick, looking at North Texas, they had the weekend off. I guess I didn't pull up their standings, but
They're second place.
They're second. They're only 2 points off first place.
They're only 2 points off with one game in hand. Points per game, the team ahead of them is at 1.92, and they're at 1.91. And frankly, the MLS Next Pro, for whatever reason, the schedule is pretty unbalanced. So there's teams, that have played 8 games. North Texas is at, I believe they're at 11. There's some teams that have played 12. Some teams, so it's all over the place. So it's give it another month or two before we finally see where everyone falls. But North Texas turned the corner and they're starting to look like a playoff contender. And honestly, at the rate they're improving, let's not forget that several of their starters have only been with the team for a couple of weeks. The English kid at striker and the the midfielder they got from Scotland. I mean, these guys just have been with the team for several weeks, and so this team is still only going to get better. The backline pairing's only been together for about a month. So yeah, this team may have, if they keep improving and playing the way they've been playing, they have a legitimate chance to uh, try and defend their title. That's kind of exciting as far as I'm concerned.
Huge shout out to Sam Sarver, team captain, and just playing lights out as of late.
Mm-hmm.
It looks look what why FC Dallas picked him up in the draft, um, and playing so well that he's going to surely get a look in the off season over winter camp and stuff, or preseason, just to say, hey, can he carve out a role with the first team? But hey, credit to him for his
I think
leadership.
I
Yeah.
think he's showing that you always get those players that look like they're outgrowing uh, MLS Next Pro, and Sarver is showing that. So yeah, he'll either get a look or get loaned out to a USLC team.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the depth's coming around. It's been impressed again by Gall what he gets out of these guys, and even some of the criticism early on when Gavin Gall was getting some minutes at left back. Torquato has really settled in there at left back. He's getting minutes, so they're developing some of these exciting players, and even this striker from from Buxton, gosh. He got a goal. He's been active. He's been kind of rounding into form, and you can see, hey, we're gonna go look for these diamonds in the rough.
Didn't he get a goal and a red card?
Oh, and a red card, which
Yeah,
is
he did.
like this is the kind of players that North Texas are looking for, but could turn into something.
I'm just happy that they have another threat, because I was complaining that Sarver was really their only other threat, and it's nice that they've added a guy who shows he is a threat, and allows the team to be a little more diversified in their attack. So yeah, like I said, and once they gel, like I said, this team is rounding out really nicely, and like I said, starting to get that you know starting to look like a championship caliber team.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any stress that Gavin he filled in ably. It seems like he's a great team player to have there, and gives the team some depth, especially as I think the roster's they've just been trying to settle, get these guys acclimated and get some, um, you know, teamwork going, get a sense of building these relationships. So it's nice to have a guy like Gavin who came in. I think the criticism is just that Torquato is a youth national team kid, and you just want to keep developing. We want to make sure he's getting all the minutes he can, maybe over someone like Gavin, who's a little older and probably doesn't project it in that same kind of future. But credit to Gavin for stepping in and playing, and he had a great goal himself. Fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fun stuff. Yeah, and Aaron Essel, shout out to him, getting a call up to the Ghanian men's national team. So I always think that's pretty darn cool when you can have a guy in your reserve team getting called up to a senior team somewhere. I mean, it's just a good problem to have, good opportunity for these guys. So we got a week off for FC Dallas. North Texas will play Wednesday night against. They'll travel out over to St. Louis, so that'll be a fun match to sort of tide you over until FC Dallas gets back into action. And in a little bit lighter month in June,
Yeah.
just 3 matches. They travel to Sporting Kansas City on the 14th, and then at home for San Jose and San Diego. That San Diego match, it's got to be a revenge match. After that beat down in San Diego, they've got to circle that one and say we need to take advantage of this opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Well, good. Well, I think we're gonna leave it there. I've got
A quick shout out to FC Dallas U23 squad. In case you guys didn't know, they're in that the league for clubs. 2 games right off the bat, and 4-1 win against Foro, and then a 7-1 trouncing of FC Revolution to start out the gates hot. And that roster is almost all ex academy kids, uh, and a couple of I saw a couple of solar kids in there too, but
Yeah.
mostly former academy kids that have either played in college, played for the academy, or played for North Texas at some point or another. You'd recognize them. No one that's gonna blow your mind, but you're like, oh yeah, I was wondering what happened to that guy.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, they're off and running, and currently in third place after only 2 games. The first place team has got 4 games under their belt. So yeah,
All right,
fun,
good,
fun,
good
fun.
shout out there. Well, Kuv, Jose, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks everybody for schedules up and down. Last week we didn't do a show, but we should be back in rhythm here coming forward, and
Right.
hopefully begin to hear some. I mean, Kuv, I'm hoping that we do hear some rumors about some roster additions, some trades,
Hopefully.
Or subtractions.
or subtractions. Yeah, we're all hoping for that. I know summer transfer window has not always been FC Dallas's go-to venue to make big additions because it can be hard, but it's
I
clear this
I
team needs some adjustments.
I think this
Oh.
team has players they can move within the league, so I don't think they're gonna make any big moves, but I think they could make several moves within MLS. Trade a player here or there that's not getting any minutes, and then um, you know get someone that maybe isn't panning out somewhere else. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if they do several kind of moves along those lines.
Oh yeah, we got enough players. A certain Brazilian U22 initiative player that might be on the move to Brazil. And that's why he stayed on the injury report. Cough, cough. But other than that, nothing really that I know of. I know center back obviously was a need for the beginning of the season that they wanted to try and target in the summer. And with legitimately only one true right back with a backup that's 30 plus years of age and plays DM and starts at DM, right back might have to be an emergency pickup of one or two American free agents that are out there, and y'all can look them up on Transfer Market and pretty much figure out who we're targeting there.
Yeah.
But we got to get rid of some roster spots before we can add them. Just some hints being dropped there, but nothing confirmed and nothing
Yeah,
we know for sure.
like I said, yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's just one player, but there's also a player who's loan ends in the summer, who can just as easily be, uh,
Yeah,
let
for
go
sure.
and then free up a spot. So I mean, there's some moves, nothing sexy, but like I said, you can bring in a couple MLS veterans, players that will give you solid uh, minutes, hopefully in positions of need. Like center back or
Indeed.
wing.
Yeah.
True.
We'll see. All right. Well, appreciate it, guys. Thanks, Chris and Todd, for watching. Appreciate all the support. Of course, we'll be posting the audio wherever you find podcasts, so you can listen in and journey with us as this season continues to unfold. Thanks for your support, and keep an eye on Afterburn.soccer for some upcoming articles and some video clips and things like that we'll share. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right.